much concern within Israel, as well as in Britain, the forging or cloning of passports. And I think we do need to have a clear assurance that this won't be sanctioned by the Israeli government in the future. And this is the main issue, whatever has happened over the last few weeks, looking to the future. I think we do want to know that this will not be a practice of the State of Israel.
The French medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières has accused Bangladesh of launching a campaign of repression against thousands of unregistered Burmese refugees. The charity said unprecedented levels of violence had been used against members of the Rohingya people who'd fled to Bangladesh from northern Burma. The head of the MSF mission in Bangladesh is Paul Critchley.
We have been witnessing a crackdown against the unregistered, unrecognised Rohingya refugees within Bangladesh over the last 4 months. A violent crackdown. We have treated patients at our small clinic at Kutupalong who tell us that they've been beaten by the police, who tell us that they have been beaten by the members of the host community, in some cases neighbours that they have lived with and lived next door to for many years. Some also tell us that they have been beaten by the Bangladeshi border force and forced to swim back to Myanmar.
A suicide car bomb in western Iraq has killed at least 9 people. The explosion happened near government offices in Ramadi in Anbar province. An official said a young girl and several policemen were among those killed. The Malaysian opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim has suffered another setback in his trial for sodomy, following the judge's refusal to withdraw from hearing the case. Mr. Anwar's defence had argued that the judge was biased and would not recognise a fair trial. The case has been adjourned while the defence prepares an appeal against the judge's decision. Jennifer Park has more.
Dozens of supporters show up at the courthouse each day just to catch a glimpse of Anwar Ibrahim and his family. But the numbers are dwindling. The sodomy trial has started and stopped many times since it began February 3rd. Mr. Anwar's lawyers have many appeals pending, including a bid to gain advanced access to evidence like medical reports, DNA, and a list of witnesses that the prosecution will call to testify. Things that they say are key to providing Mr. Anwar with a proper defense.
World news from the BBC. New research suggests that drugs used to treat AIDS can help prevent the transmission of HIV, the virus that causes the condition. A study of almost 3,500 African couples found that people with HIV who took antiretroviral drugs were less likely to infect their partners. Over 3 years, there were more than 100 new infections in the group being studied, but only one by a person taking antiretrovirals. 8 of the 10 American missionaries who were accused of abducting children in Haiti in the aftermath of last month's earthquake have been released and are now back in the United States. They were flown out of Haiti in a US military transport plane, but may have to return at a later date for further questioning. Their 2 leaders will remain in detention in Haiti. The Haitian lawyer representing them, Avion Florent, gave this reaction.
The world has to know that there's American, all of them are innocent. As I promised you that they will be free, 8 of them are now free.
The exiled Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, has arrived in Washington for a meeting with President Obama, despite strong protests from China. The 2 men will meet at the White House, although the formalities will be low-key. The Chinese government describes the Dalai Lama as a dangerous separatist and says that the meeting could damage bilateral ties. But the American administration says he is an important world leader who supports Tibetan rights. The International Criminal Court says it will move against those responsible for the killing of opposition supporters in Guinea last year if the government there does not act. The Deputy Chief Prosecutor of the ICC, Fatou Bensouda, who is visiting Guinea, told the BBC that the killings were unacceptable and impunity was not an option. Mrs Bensouda said the aim of her visit was to assess what Guinea's military government was doing to prosecute those responsible for the killings. BBC News.
BBC. This is the BBC. Now it's time for assignment. A war is raging between rival drug cartels along Mexico's border with the United States. Last year, more than 7,000 people were killed in the drug-related violence, and 2010 has already got off to a bloody start. Katia Adler reports now on the shocking consequences of the conflict on Mexican society.
Welcome to Tijuana, tequila, sexo, marijuana. Mexican border towns like Tijuana used to be known for sleazy nighttime pastimes. They were magnets for American tourists seeking easy pleasures away from home. But no longer. A war is raging between rival Mexican drug cartels. A fight to the death to control the lucrative gateways to the United States, the world's largest consumer of illegal drugs. Mexico's army now patrols the streets of these border towns in a desperate attempt to stem the violence.
Soldiers have told us to get down. They need to drive as fast as possible to the scene where they've just heard that a car has been found with 5 dead bodies in it. So we're on our way there now.
There's police and soldiers all around the car. Bullet holes all through the windscreen and blood spattered all over the windscreen. The music is still playing in the car. In the scene of